What's going on, guys? We're here with another Overprime video. The last Overprime video I'm probably ever gonna make. Maybe I'll make some like future things. I can't even think of what I would ever want to make on this again, unfortunately. But I feel like I owe you guys one last kind of like video of talking about Overprime and what it was. If you guys didn't know what it was, and unfortunately, you won't have an experience playing it in the near future. The service ends on April 22nd. So if you guys don't know what Overprime is, it is a MOBA. A 5v5. It is just like League. It's basically 3D League. Just like Smite, it's just a way worse version of it. It is one of the worst MOBAs I've ever played, but it is some of the most fun I've had for such a long period of time. And it was my channel for basically a year and 3 months. It was all I uploaded. I don't think I uploaded anything else. So let's talk about it. Overprime, again, was kind of like, it felt, I was there since the beginning of the early access. I was there since the second beta, I believe. And I wasn't there since the earlier days where it wasn't a MOBA. Apparently it was like a battle royale. But it had a lot of promise. It was fun, it was fast, it was fluid, it felt modernized. The graphics looked incredible. The map was fine. It wasn't the best map ever, but it was fine. The verticality was amazing. It was basically what Paragon was in 2016. If you guys don't know what Paragon was in 2016, it was basically the new and upcoming MOBA that was kind of like breaking through the genre, similar to Smite, but except it was more modernized at the time. It was amazing. And I loved that game so much. The reason I wanted to stream was because of Paragon. It was the reason I even tried it in the first place. It just had a special place in my heart. It was a fun, competitive game. And although MOBAs are toxic by nature, I felt like it was very nice for me. I met a lot of random people. I remember meeting like this random couple that would play with me, and I remember because I couldn't talk at the time because I was on PS4 or whatever, and I couldn't talk properly. But I used to type with my controller, and they used to be like, "It's crazy how fast you can type with a controller." And it was true. I was typing really fast, but it was just funny. But I remember those good times back then. And it really made me feel like, man, I want to stream this game. I also thought I was like insanely good back in 2016. I wasn't. I was so garbage. But I really, really wanted to be like a pro because I would fight like the pro team people on off rolls and I would like beat them as like Rampage when he was broken or something. I'd be like, I'm so good, I'm gonna go pro. But obviously that wasn't true. I was just a little kid. I was like 16. But yeah, I think I was 17. Yeah, no, like I love Paragon back in 2016. Unfortunately, I think today it doesn't hold up. And the reason I say that is because we've had so many Paragon remakes. This is the third time this game has died. The original died in 2016. It was brought back in the form of Fault, first and foremost. That game launched pretty wonky, but that game also died fairly quickly, I think after a year or two. And then we got Overprime and Pred pretty much at the same time. They both went into early access in December of 2022. So yeah, 2022? Yeah, 2022. We got it basically a year and 3 months ago at the same time. Unfortunately, Overprime quickly gave up and lost the race recently. A week ago, basically a week ago, they announced the shutdown of Overprime on April 22nd, kind of randomly. They had a lot of stuff in the works, apparently, which I can't show you because I left the Discord. I just want to be done with the game. I don't want anything to do with the game. I'm not interested in like playing like matches as like a send off. This is kind of the send off. It's like I just don't want any involvement in it, man. I'm like, it's upsetting that the company literally dropped the ball again with this IP. This is the third time. And we have another chance, which is Pred, but for me, it's like Pred's in the same boat in terms of player base. I don't want to have to try and experience this a fourth time. I really don't. I'm just so over it. I'm 24. Like I work. I don't want to come home and try to play Pred and like find games and wait for the game to get better. It just isn't there for me, and I don't think it's going to be. What I wanted out of like Overprime was to be this fun, kind of faster pace. I wanted it to slow down, but it was fun the way it was if they balanced the things that they needed to, but they never did. The community had clear issues like stuff like Rangers being broken or gold being garbage where you never got full build, or there not being a second tower to keep the game flowing better, or minions not being strong enough. There were so many different issues that aren't present in other MOBAs or as present in other MOBAs that they just never even tried to fix. And it makes me more upset because they're like, their farewell note, they were like, we tried to listen to the community and implement different things. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't implement, like, the best update they had was when they buffed the gold gain. That was it. It was, I remember it was like 6 months into the game, probably. They buffed gold gain. And I remember I was the video I made was like, this is the greatest patch ever. Because it was at the time. It was a step in the right direction. I actually thought they were making changes that mattered to the game. And I thought they were going to fix the game. Yeah, another patch that was good was when they tried to nerf Rangers. Didn't really do anything, but they tried it. They did help the early game and help you basically win almost every single time versus before where you weren't always going to guarantee win. But it took a while still. It was still not as good as it should be because of the backpedal abuse. The game had a lot of technological issues, but it also just had a lot of issues the devs could have fixed by taking notes from other games. Stuff like backpedal, or stuff like from Smite, or stuff like itemization from League. Like, they didn't have to make everything so wonky and crazy and broken and overstated and disgustingly OP. Like Grim with his across the map like volley of balls that he can throw, or Mako with the same issue, or Murdoch with the same issue, or FaZe with her insta-kill before they nerfed her and then ruined her character because they didn't know what they wanted to do with her. Or like, it just, a lot of these characters just like were broken because the devs made them broken. Or Yin is like I like Yin, but she's a perfect example of not only the design being ruined because of what she originally was, because they didn't know how to balance their game. So they turned her into a strict ranger instead of being a temporary ranger, because melee versus ranged, they knew that ranged had an advantage over melee, and they wanted her to actually be an ADC. So instead of fixing their game, they made her a permanent ranger. Now, I liked her the way she was, even though I knew she wasn't that good. Like, she wasn't like as good as she should have been in her vision, because what she originally was really fun. Her ult change was fine. I wish they kept the reflect in some way, but that was fine. And her abilities were fine, but they didn't do anything. They didn't do enough. They didn't scale off crit. They didn't help her as an ADC. They just kind of like were there. So most of the time, it's just me running around, Spider-Manning around, and then, which was really fun. I like that change. Again, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it was just a character that she had a whip. But in the original game, she was melee and range, but they changed her to permanent range in this game because they didn't want to have like an ADC melee. But the point is, the devs never changed enough to justify them actually trying. Like, it feels like after the first month, they just gave up. Because they instantly changed like the character currency. The first month was the strongest my channel has ever been with the game, and it felt like the devs actually cared in the first month. But then after the first month, it kept dwindling. It was like they had like the records and the dev notes and like it was still really good actually with the communication, but the patches were just lame. The patches didn't address the core issues of like gold and stuff like that, which was always an issue. They didn't really address the formula of a MOBA. And this game, I think, would have been better off if it wasn't a MOBA. I genuinely think making a battle arena game, maybe something like Anarchy Reigns where you run around the map and it's like a big map and you can fight, that would have been cool too. Anything that wasn't a MOBA would have been fine, because these devs did not know how to balance a MOBA. Even Pred has the MOBA formula much better off than Overprime does, because you can get full build generally after 35-40 minutes, but the games last long enough generally, from my experience, at least low elo, and you're not getting one shot by rangers with 3 items. It's like, it feels really, really good in comparison to Overprime that was really wonky. Time to kill was insanely fast. Quicker than other MOBAs, like, with like 3 items or whatever. There was one shotters with 4 items or 3 items, depending on who you're playing. You could just full combo with Squishy. So the last 2 items, doesn't really matter. You could just one shot them no matter what build you had. It was a lot. It was a lot of just like chaos, basically. And punishment was a foreign word to this game. They did not know how to punish anything, whether it was rotating between lanes. You could leave your lane at level 1 and just rotate somewhere else. That used to be the strat, actually, back in the beta. But like, you can leave your lane at level 1 and you wouldn't get punished, because sprint mode, even though they nerfed it, combined with gold not being big enough in lane, with lane emphasis and like leveling and not mattering as much. I don't think level scaling mattered either, which was another big problem, because like your level scaling didn't really matter too much. It was just if you had enough golden items. So if you were like 3 levels down, there was still a chance you can kill someone who was 3 levels up, much more than in other MOBAs you would see where the level difference matters greatly, like in Smite, right? I don't know, like I said, it just feels like they didn't try with this game after the first month, because they had so much potential here. The bones of Overprime were amazing. It was. It really was. And like I said, I never wanted this game to die. I kind of knew it was going to for the last couple of months anyways. Like I just felt it, but I didn't know it was going to happen so soon. I didn't think they could ever have a player resurgence. I never thought the company would just randomly shut the game down this soon. I literally thought that we'd at least try to launch an early access. Maybe we fix a few issues that are core, but like I feel like the core player base after advertising, if it wasn't perfect, which I knew it wasn't going to be on release, the player base would have died off. Games that are better than this, I can't think of any right now. Battleground, I guess, have just died off without any of the issues that Overprime had. Server issues, illogical issues, desyncing, where you would just like basically when using ability or anything with high movement, you would blink backwards because the server is not translating you correctly. You'd get stuck in towers, which still is present in the game. You get stuck with certain abilities like Aurora or Seraph Dash. There were so many different issues, but they brought the characters to life. They gave them voices. They remodeled them, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but I thought it was good because they modernized them, made them more Eastern, and they made them look really cool. They had the sickest skins in the game, in any game I've ever seen. Their skins were phenomenal, man. They were so good. I uninstalled the game. I can't show you guys anything. Let's just be B-roll footage in the background, but the game was amazing. It was aesthetically pleasing in every way. The menu, the UI, the music, everything was really, really good. Especially the crossover music with Maeve, so good. But until you got to the actual gameplay, that was what they needed to fix, and they never could do that. They also needed to fix player retention, adding some way to retain players. They needed to fix stuff like battle, like just incentives to playing in general, like battle passes and stuff. We needed more reasons to play. Ranked wasn't enough. Ranked was a joke in that game since the start, considering the small player base and terrible matchmaking. So yeah, like ranked was not even a consideration. I think they should have shut that down. Excuse me. Shut that down like immediately. And it's crazy because like when they announced the shutdown of ranked, I was like, that was what I've been wanting forever. But I kind of knew that was a bad sign because it was so random. And they had an outline for what they wanted from ranked. What I don't understand is why they shut down ranked a day before they announced the game shutting down. So I don't know. To me, it just feels like another shutdown all over again. A studio that didn't listen to their community, that constantly gave feedback. It was good because like we'd have people like Jon Snow, one of the developers, go on stream and ask, what do you want us to fix? But they never did anything with that information. We would sit there, I would be in the chat and I would sit there with other people and we'd talk and we'd argue back and forth, and they would give reasons, dumb reasons for certain things, but they would be like, but we want new players to experience the game and have fun. We want this game to feel really good to everyone, and we need to fix player retention. I'm like, well, this is how A, B, and C, this is how you at least start. Try changing this. Minions, towers, gold farm, whatever. And he was like, yes. We'll definitely look on that. We'll write this down. And they were testing different maps and different game modes and all this other stuff. We got a few different game modes like to test out. Battle Royale. We got like Red Moon, which was basically ARAM, but nothing stuck and nothing brought players back enough. But they never ever tried to push it out. They never advertised at all. They never advertised at all. Like, I don't think there was a single, people say they saw ads, but I don't think any streamer was paid to play. I don't think there was any ads on Twitch. Usually when I see a game advertised, like, I'll see ads literally everywhere on Twitch, on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever. But I didn't see a single Overprime ad in its entire lifespan of a year and 3 months. So they didn't try. Like, there were so many areas of the game where they could have tried. And you could say, well, it's Netmarber's fault for pulling the plug. Sure, but the dev team was garbage. Like, they were fun to watch sometimes, but they were garbage. Like, they were not good devs. The communication was kind of okay, but there was a barrier. There was a language barrier. But again, like I said, it wasn't good enough. Like, devs nowadays, they need to be vocal. The Warframe devs are a perfect example of what all devs should be. They communicate, they do streams every Thursday, and then like every other Friday and then Thursday. They are constantly talking. They're doing like dev weekly mini streams now too. They talk all the time. And that's what we need. Like, we don't need exactly what Warframe does, but we need insight on development. We need to know what they're working on all the time and see progress and like clips of that. We need to know the devs. We need to see the devs playing and talking to the community. We need to have community managers that, provide this information, actually play the game. We need stuff like that. and we just didn't have it. We didn't have the resources, whether it was the devs that were incompetent. Again, this team was small, got acquired by a bigger studio eventually, and started making a remake of a game, but it didn't work out. Will I ever support a product from Netmarble again? I think I've gone through 2 Netmarble games that just died that I actually enjoyed. The other one was Super Marvel Future Revolution, I think, but I don't, I don't think so. I don't think I'll take a Netmarble game seriously anymore. It's not it, right? Like they just don't. Again, they're the publisher, but the studios they like have just don't. I know they're owned by NC Soft or whatever, but like I don't know anything about that. I don't know. I just know the devs didn't try. Like they didn't try hard enough. Netmarble didn't give them enough time. There were so many different things they could have done, so many different areas they could at least like. It's not just like one or two things. They had so many different ways to engage with their community or listen to their feedback or change some things. Like you're telling me that it was so difficult for a team that could pop out these amazingly crafted, beautiful skins constantly, multiple of them sometimes in a given patch, but they couldn't literally just change some values for, again, I'm not a game developer, for the gold farm to just be a little bit higher, or they couldn't just add a slow when you're moving in a certain direction for every character in general, instead of just making it super unfair like other games usually have. Like League, you stand still, Smite, you move slower. They couldn't try to just tweak these small little things over the course of a year and 3 months. They did technically up Gold Farm eventually, but it wasn't good enough. We still weren't getting full build or anywhere near, and it wasn't a smooth process in laning where the laning would stop after 9 minutes. We gave feedback on how to fix it, adding a second tower, making minions stronger, making damage lower in the start of the game to just, smooth out the progression of damage, just in general. But they never did it. They never tried. And again, I know this is just me ranting basically about, Overprime and why it failed, but this is the reason the devs didn't try. So, like my frustration comes from the fact that like they had a gem. They really did. They had a good product and they just couldn't make it work. And I think that's what makes me the most frustrated because I dedicated, like I said, a year. I'm not the most creative streamer ever. I got very lucky being like a really important figure in this community. And again, you're like looking at my channel, you're like, you only have 3,000 subs. I had 200 before I started uploading Overprime content. I had 200 subs. So going to 3,000 subs was amazing for me. It felt amazing. Not just because I was like getting a lot of views or whatever, but it was like I was engaged with the community. I was able to like talk with a lot of people. I knew this game. I knew the people in this game. I was able to introduce other new people to the game. I got so many comments when the game was not like, shut down or announced to shut down. You got me into this game. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. Like, I wanted to, but I shouldn't have. Because this game was doomed to fail from the start when the devs, after the first month, didn't make big changes. The second month, the third month went by. Like, they weren't making any changes substantial enough that were simple. And they also had broken characters and stuff, like characters with desyncing issues like Xena, who were just, whenever you use an ability, they were unplayable or they broke their characters. The writing was on the wall, but like, obviously I had massive copium because I loved the game. But even I was falling off of the game, but I was trying to upload content. That was the only thing keeping me in it. I was like, I literally said, I would just wait for the game to get better. I wouldn't play the game if it wasn't for my YouTube channel. That was true. I didn't want to play the game anymore because it was just so shit. But because of the channel, I was like, okay, I need to keep going strong. I need to keep putting out videos, even though I was slacking. I need to keep streaming, which I was doing a good amount of, but still slacking lately. Because again, they gave me good reason to. They were just small balancing. But again, me being angry at the devs, even though it's not my job to like force myself to be engaged with the game that doesn't provide me. They didn't know battle pass, no incentives to play. I had like all the characters. I didn't need to grind anything. Ranked was dead. I couldn't even find ranked games in NA East 90% of the time. I could barely find quick matches in certain times of the day. The player base was low. There was no engagement. So the only thing that I had was uploading the same videos of Sereth running around and abusing an item like Claw or something, or just the pen system. Like, it wasn't, nothing was, it was starting to get less and less engaging because the patches started getting much more mundane. There was not a lot of big changes. There was not a lot of things to go over. And I got tired of it. But at the same time, I was still pushing out content, even though it was slower. But they just, again, the devs didn't give me a reason to play. They didn't want me to play, right? And because they weren't trying. And I think that, like I said, it was evident from the start of the game. We knew that the devs couldn't do this. And everyone was memeing, they're like, just go to Pred. I don't trust Pred either, but these devs literally couldn't balance the simplest things, or they couldn't at least try to make changes. Even if you say, oh, they were incompetent at the start of the game, that's fine. But if they tried to address the core issues that we constantly screamed about, ADCs being too strong, not just ADCs, range characters in general versus melee being super unfair, they couldn't fix any of the balancing issues that people had. And there was a bunch of small issues, like just copy another MOBA. Like, how hard is it? Again, I'm not a game developer, so takes it with a grain of salt. How hard is it to just be like, okay, we want a MOBA. Let's look at Smite, take everything they have, put it on a plate, and take all the good things that we see, generally, kind of like maybe compare it to League in a way, and just put it on a plate. Because it's a 3D MOBA, so you need to go into 3D formula, so Smite's perfect, but we have verticality. Okay, but how does the verticality impact the game in comparison to Smite? How does it evolve the gameplay? Okay, we have the better graphics. Okay, we got the skills. Okay, now what do we do? Well, make the game function like a MOBA. Again, like I said, I would have been fine, I said this multiple times, if they just stripped all the mobile elements and made this into a battle arena. I know people wouldn't like that, but they were terrible MOBA devs. These devs were so shit at balancing certain abilities in general. I think being in an arena would make it much easier to see how broken characters like Grim or Wraith would be in like a fighting setting. Even though they weren't broken, they were just annoying. I think that was another thing. Not everything was broken that was annoying, and there was a lot of annoyance in the game. But regardless, again, this isn't a balanced talk because the game's dead. It's just, I'm just venting. I'm just venting my frustration with the game. And the more days that go by, the more it's like sinking in. It's like, damn, this game actually just died without any fire under it. Like, they didn't try anything. They didn't try to make the game better. They didn't try to advertise. They didn't try to launch it on consoles, which would have been bigger for them. They didn't try anything. They disappointed literally every single fan they possibly had, despite having a good foundation of a game. And I'm not saying like the game was perfect, like didn't run perfectly. No, it didn't. It didn't have perfect elements of the MOBA, but like they had the characters, they had certain fun abilities. Needed to fix up some of the abilities a little bit. The game had good bones. It did. Even though it was clunky, it still had some, okay, I wouldn't say good bones. Pred felt to me more cohesive and more clear in its objective in terms of being a MOBA. Overprime, you kind of felt like the Overwatch feel. I agree with that, right? And I feel like I defended it at the start of the game, but over time I realized, no, the game is really brawly and somewhat rewards you for being brawly, but like you still need to be at objectives, but you definitely want to brawl a lot instead and just group up and team and stuff like that. It was super annoying. Unless you were playing like Wukong and like diving towers and just getting all of them by yourself, it didn't really matter. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, this is just a rant video basically. I'm just upset. This is just like this wasn't like a clear, cohesive point by point of like why Overprime died. This is just me venting about how the devs didn't try. TLDR, that's it. The devs didn't try. They had so many areas where they could have just improved upon and at least tried to make the game better, but they didn't. And again, you could probably hear it in my voice of how frustrated I am. Like, I'm not just like, it wasn't like I was just a player, which again was already disappointing, but I was a previous player of Paragon. So I wasn't like a brand new to Overprime. I spent a year with this game, like many of you did as well. And I also made content on the game for a year straight too. So it was one of these things where it was like, you guys are disappointed, I'm disappointed. As an original Paragon player, a lot of other people are disappointed. It's just all disappointment. This IP is cursed. Not to mention that Terra just released, and then the game announced to shut down, just like the original. She's just a cursed hero. So I don't know. Will I be going on to Pred or anything? No, I'm just gonna wait for the game to get better. If anyone's wondering, if the game like retains players, like increases in player base, I mean, and also just pops off and makes changes that I really like, I'll try it out in the future. In the near future, probably not. I highly doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. They're probably not going to change the map for a while and stuff like that. I'm not interested. I don't care about Paragon as an IP anymore. Overprime killed all my enjoyment from this IP. As much as it like made me a streamer, it's not it. Paragon is done. I think so. Good luck to you, Pred folks. I hope it all works out. I think Paragon's a dead IP, and we need to let it rest. That's my take on it. But Overprime, like I said, it failed so hard in so many areas that like I can't even justify its attempt at being a MOBA because it didn't try hard enough to be one. We're like desperately lacking MOBAs, especially in a 3D sense. Like we have League, Dota, and Smite, and that's it for PC. We have mobile MOBAs like, or other like big ones like Honor of Kings, which is coming to the West soon. Might cover that. Um, and then stuff like Mobile Legends and Wild Rift, but nothing is PC wise standing out aside from three MOBAs. Unlike the multitude of shooters and battle royales now in today's day and age, Smite is running strong with 3D MOBAs. Smite 2 is coming out soon, which is really nice. But I'm gonna miss Paragon. I'm gonna miss it. I don't know what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm still wondering myself about like the content, but yeah, like I said, this is basically just a rant video and explaining why I think the game died. Devs didn't try. They really didn't. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is my last official time saying welcome. This is another Overprime video. It's sad. It's making me more upset as the days go by because like I'm realizing like this is over, right? And I mean, I'm glad I'm going on to new things and gonna try to do something else because I was sick of the game anyways, and I was hoping the devs would just make it better, but they didn't. But it's scary as well because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I know it's like we're gonna follow you, and I really appreciate your support. I have to say that as well. You guys have been killing it. You guys grew my channel in a year to heights I didn't think I was gonna reach that fast. And I know it's not a lot to a lot of people, but it's a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that you guys followed me for so long. And I get why you guys probably won't follow me to other games, at least a lot of you. And the ones that do, thank you. The ones who did follow me, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. I've been gaining subs recently, and I'm shocked because I'm like, you guys are like subbing to me out of nowhere, and I'm like, the game's dead. Like, what's going on? And I don't know what I'm gonna do. So if you guys are looking for like pred content, it's not happening. I can tell you that much. I'm just gonna start playing a bunch of different games and seeing what's going on. But this isn't the video for that. I'm sorry. I'm just overwhelmed with like emotion about this. It sucks. It sucks. It's sad. It's sad and it sucks. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Overprime added to the pile the third time this game has died. I pray for Pred, but good luck. Good luck, everybody. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.